Hello all, welcome to the next session on storage area networks. So in this session let us continue the module 3 of your syllabus. In the previous lecture we had discussed what do you mean by the business continuity terminologies. What do you mean by business continuity? We try to understood the different business continuity terminologies such as RPO, RTO. We discussed uptime, downtime, what does it mean by cold site, what is hot site, and so on. We discussed a bunch of terminologies, and at the end we discussed business impact analysis, we discussed the business continuity planning life cycle, and so on. So all these things were discussed in the first chapter of your module 2. Let us proceed to the next chapter of your syllabus, that is backup and recovery. What is backup? Let us first try to understand what do you mean by backup. A backup is an additional copy of the production data created and retained for the sole purpose of recovering lost or corrupted data. Let us see this definition. A backup is an additional copy of the production data created and retained for the sole purpose of recovering lost or corrupted data. So it's an additional copy of the data that can be used for restore and recovery purposes. So when do we need to restore the data? If the actual data is lost or if the actual data is corrupted. In that case we need to go for restore and recovery. When we perform the restore and recovery, we need to have a backup copy of the data. The backup copy is used when the primary copy is lost or corrupted. Okay, so if the primary copy is lost, maybe due to accidental deletion or maybe due to some other reason, if the data is lost or if it is corrupted, in that case we use the backup copy. The backup copy can be created in two ways. First way is by simply copying the data. There can be one or more copies. Second one is by mirroring. Okay, the copy is always updated with whatever is written to the primary copy. If you remember, in the first module we had discussed the difference between mirroring and backup. So mirroring involves copying the data whenever a new data is returned to the primary copy, whereas normal backup happens at a particular duration or at a particular frequency, maybe at the end of the day or at the end of the every hour, and so on. So backup is used when the primary copy is lost or corrupted. So there's one more term that's called as data archiving. So data archiving is the process of moving data that is no longer used from primary storage to low cost secondary storage. So this data is retained in the secondary storage for a long term to meet the regulatory requirements. Now there may be some data which is no longer actively used, so we need to dump this data to low cost secondary storage devices. So that process is called as data archiving. So backup, it's all about recovery. Okay, businesses back up the data to enable its recovery in case of potential loss. Businesses also back up their data to comply with the regulatory requirements. Okay, there are some regulatory requirements which insist that the data should be stored for a certain duration. So businesses also back up the data to comply with these regulatory requirements. So what are the purposes of backup? So there are three major purposes for taking up the backup. So first purpose is the disaster recovery. Second, operational, and third one is archival purpose. So for disaster recovery, it restores the production data to an operational state after the disaster. So when you're talking about a disaster, it may be a natural disaster or it may be a man-made disaster. So what might be the natural disaster? It can be anything. It can be flooding, it can be volcanic eruption, it can be earthquake, tsunami, whatever it is. These are all natural disasters. Man-made disasters may be contamination of the data centers or maybe some other human errors. If that leads to some disaster, we call it as a man-made disaster. So disaster recovery is one of the major purposes of backup. The second purpose is operational. That is this operational backup restores data in the event of data loss or logical corruptions that may occur during routine processing. So there may be a chance that while we are running some algorithms, while we are processing the data may be subjected to corruption, logical corruptions or data loss. So in that case, if we are taking the backup in order to face such a scenario, we call it as an operational backup. Third purpose of backup is archival. That is to preserve transaction records, email and other business work products for regulatory compliance. So these are the three purposes for taking up the backup: disaster recovery, operational and archival. Now, what are the considerations do we need to make before taking up the backup? So what are the questions we need to answer before we take up the backup? So first thing is we need to ask what are the restore requirements. So what is the recovery point objective and what is the recovery time objective? Alright. So if recovery point objective is 1 day, that means the data needs to be backed up at least once every day. Okay. Similarly, based upon a particular recovery time objective, the data should be able to restore to that particular RTO, recovery time objective. The next question, the next consideration we need to consider is, or the next question that we need to consider is, where and when will the restores occur? So where are you going to restore the data and when are you going to do it? So that is the second consideration. Third question is, what are the most frequent restore requests? So this is the third consideration. So there may be some frequent restore requests for certain data. So we need to answer the question, what are the most frequent restore requests? We need to consider this question as well. Next thing that we need to consider is which data needs to be backed up. Do we need to back up the entire data or only a certain set of data needs to be backed up? Are we going to back up only the critical data, only the important data or the entire data? So that is one more consideration we need to make, which data needs to be backed up. Okay, then we have the question, how frequently should the data be backed up? Should it be backed up every hour? Should it be done on a daily basis, weekly basis or monthly basis? This is one more important question that I need to consider, that is the frequency of data or frequency of data backup. Next question is, how long will it take to back up the data? This is one more consideration we need to make. How long will it take to back up the data? The next question, how many copies should be created or how many backup copies to create? The last question, how long to retain these backup copies? Do we need to store it indefinitely? If not, for what duration of time do we need to retain the backup copies? That is one more consideration we need to make before taking up a backup of the production data. What are the other considerations? So we may also have to consider the location, whether it is a heterogeneous platform, okay, whether production data, the storage that is used for production data, whether the same storage technology will be used for backup data, backup copy. So this also we need to consider, and we need to consider whether the backup copy will be created locally or at a remote location. So one more consideration is number and size of the files. So large files are faster to backup compared to multiple smaller files of the same size. That is 10 files of 1 MB size versus 10,000 files of 1 KB. So large files are faster to backup compared to multiple smaller files of the same size. So the use of data compression can save space. We need to consider that also, whether we need to use any compression technique to store the data or to perform the backup. The text file compresses really well. Binary files cannot compress very well. Files such as the JPEG and ZIP are already compressed and therefore is unlikely to be compressed further. So we need to also consider the number and the size of the files that needs to be backed up. Now let us try to understand what do we mean by backup granularity. Okay, so there are different types of backup granularity. We have something called as full backup, incremental backup, cumulative backup and synthetic backup. So full backup of the complete data at a certain point in time. We back up the complete data at a certain point in time. In incremental backup, it copies the data that has changed since the last full or incremental backup. Only the data that has been changed will be backup in incremental backup. It is much faster to backup in the scenario of incremental backup, but it takes longer time to restore. Okay, the next granularity we have is cumulative or the differential backup. In cumulative backup, it copies the data that has changed since the last full backup. So it's slower than incremental backup for backup process, whereas the restore is faster. And lastly, we have something called a synthetic or constructed full backup. A full backup generated from the latest full backup and all incremental backups performed after that particular full backup. So a full backup generated from the latest full backup and all other incremental backups performed after that particular full backup. It enables full backup copy to be done offline. So let us look at a scenario of the full backup. See, every week, in the beginning of every Sunday or the first day of the week, that is on Sunday, the entire data will be backed up. That is an example for full backup. Second scenario is that of the cumulative backup. So on Sunday we have performed the full backup. On Monday only the data that has been changed on Monday. On Tuesday the data that has been changed from Monday and Tuesday both will be backed up. On Wednesday again cumulative of the data that has been changed from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday we are going to perform the backup of data that has been changed from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so and so on. So we have a cumulative backup copies per week, and on every Sunday a full backup will be performed. So that is an example for cumulative backup. And lastly, we have the incremental backup. So once the full backup is done, we perform the backup only for the data that has been changed for that particular day. On Monday, what is the data that was changed, that will be backed up. Tuesday, whatever data was changed, only that will be backed up, and so on. And at the end of every week or at the beginning of every week, we are going to perform the full backup. We are going to back up the entire data. So these are the backup granularities, frequency, and the way in which we are going to back up the data. So let us look at a scenario where we are going to restore from an incremental backup. So suppose we perform a full backup of the data on Monday. Suppose there were 3 files, all these 3 files will be backed. So in case of incremental backup, suppose let us say on Tuesday we added a new file, file 4, only that will be backed up. Wednesday, say file 3 will be updated, only that updated file will be backed up. Thursday, a new file, file 5 will be added, and that will be backed up. On Friday, again we are going to perform the full backup, which is going to back up all these 5 files, file 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Right? So if you want to restore from the full backup, so we can use the last full backup copy of the data. Okay. So what are the key features here? Files that have changed since the last backup are backed up. So full backup was done on Monday. On Tuesday only the files that have been changed since the last full backup, that is only file 4 will be backed up. Fewest amount of files to be backed up, therefore faster backup and less storage space is required in case of incremental backup. Longer restore because last full or all subsequent incremental backups must be applied. Now let us consider the similar scenario for the cumulative backup. So let us assume we have done a full backup on Monday. Suppose there were 3 files, all the 3 files will be backed up on Monday. On Tuesday, a new file is added, that is file 4. So that will be backed up. On Wednesday, one more file is added, that is file 5. So since it is a cumulative backup, both file 4 and file 5 will be backed up. Similarly, on Thursday, you are going to introduce a new file, file 6. So all the 3 files, file 4, file 5 and file 6 will be backed up. So your backup copy considers the last full backup copy and the latest cumulative backup copy. Okay. Key features of this cumulative backup is more files to be backed up, therefore it takes more time to back up and uses more storage space. When compared to incremental backup, cumulative backup requires more files to be backed up, and therefore it takes more time to back up and uses more storage space. So cumulative backup is much faster to restore because only the last full copy and the last cumulative backup must be applied. So it is much faster to restore in case of cumulative backup. Now let us see the different backup methods. So hot backup and cold backup are the 2 methods deployed for backup. So there are 2 methods. We have something called as a hot backup, also called as online backup, and cold backup, also called as the offline backup. So these backup methods are based on the state of the application when the backup is performed. These backup methods are based on the state of the application when the backup is performed. Now in case of hot backup, the application is up and running with users accessing their data through the backup process. This method of backup is also referred to as online backup. As the name suggests, in hot backup, the application is up and running with the users accessing their data during the backup process. Hence the name online backup. A cold backup requires the application to be shut down during the backup process. Hence the method is also called as offline backup. So in case of hot backup, users will be continuously using their data, the applications will be using the data when the backup process is taking place. Whereas in case of cold backup, the data access of the application should be shut down while the backup takes place. The hot backup of online production data is challenging because data is actively used and changed. So in hot backup, if a file is open, it is normally not backed up during the backup process. In such a situation, an open file agent is required to back up the open file. So these agents interact directly with the operating system or application and enable the creation of consistent copies of open files. So in case of hot backup, backing up of the online production data is challenging because the file may be locked by an operating system and cannot be copied until the file is being closed. Okay, there are two ways to handle the situation. One is by retrying until the file is closed and then until it is accessed. Second option is by using something called as the open file agents. So these agents interact directly with the operating system or application and enable the creation of consistent copies of open files. In database environments, the use of open file agents is not enough because the agent should also support a consistent backup of all the database components as well. For example, a database is composed of many files of varying sizes occupying several file systems. To ensure a consistent database backup, all files need to be backed up in the same state. That does not necessarily mean that all files need to be backed up at the same time, but they all must be synchronized so that the database can be restored with consistency. So in database environments, the use of open file agents will not be sufficient because the agent should also support a consistent backup of all the database components. For example, if a database is composed of many files of varying sizes occupying the several file system, to ensure a consistent backup, all data need to be backed up in the same state. So this does not necessarily mean that all files need to be backed up at the same time, but they all must be synchronized so that the database can be restored with consistency. The disadvantage associated with the hot backup is that agents usually affect the overall application performance. So in case of hot backup, so it is the backup agents or the open file agents who usually affect the overall application performance. Consistent backups of databases can also be done using the cold backup. This requires the database to remain inactive during the backup. Of course, the disadvantage of a cold backup is that the database is inaccessible to the users during the backup process. So in case of cold backup, while the backup process is taking place, the database will not be accessible to the applications and the users. So we have something called as point-in-time copy or point-in-time replica. A point-in-time copy method is deployed in environments in which the impact of downtime from a cold backup or the performance impact resulting from a hot backup is unacceptable. A point-in-time copy method is deployed in environments in which the impact of downtime from a cold backup or the performance impact resulting from a hot backup is unacceptable. The point-in-time copy is created from the production volume and used as a source for the backup. This reduces the impact on the production volume. To ensure consistency, it is not enough to back up only the production data for recovery. Certain attributes and properties attached to a file, such as the permissions, owner, and other metadata, also needs to be backed up. So these attributes are as important as the data itself and must be backed up for consistency. So to ensure consistency, it is not just enough to back up only the production data for recovery. Certain other attributes and properties attached to a file, such as the permissions, owner, and other metadata, should also needs to be backed up. These attributes are as important as the data itself and must be backed up for consistency. In a disaster recovery management or in a disaster recovery environment, we use something called as BMR, or the bare metal recovery, that refers to a backup in which all the metadata, system information and application configurations are appropriately backed up for a full system recovery. Bare metal recovery, or the BMR, builds a base system which includes the partitioning, the file system layout, the operating system, the applications and all relevant configurations. BMR, or the bare metal recovery, recovers the system before starting the recovery of the data files. Some BMR technologies, for example, server configuration backup, or we call it as SCB, can recover a server even onto dissimilar hardware. So remember, there are two methods for backing up. We have something called as hot backup method and cold backup. There is one more technique called as the point in time copy. Now let us look at the backup architecture and the backup process. So what do you mean by what is the backup architecture and what is the backup process? So backup architecture involves three major components. We have a backup client, the backup server and the storage node. Backup client sends backup data to the backup server or the storage node. The backup server manages the backup operations and maintains backup catalog. The storage node is responsible for writing the data to the backup device. So remember, there are three major components in the backup architecture. We have the backup client, which may be an application server. We have a backup server, which may also be treated as a storage node, and the storage node itself that is responsible for writing the data to the backup device. Now let us consider the backup process. Okay. So we have the application server and the backup clients. We have the backup server, the storage node and the backup device. First step is start of the scheduled backup process. Second step, backup server retrieves the backup related information from the backup catalog. Then the backup server instructs the storage node to load the backup media in the backup device. The backup server then instructs the backup clients to send its metadata to the backup server and data to be backed up to the storage node. The backup clients send data to the storage node. Then the storage node sends the data to the backup device. Lastly, the storage node sends the media information to the backup server. After which the backup server shall update the catalog and record the status. So these are the 7 steps in the backup operation. So backup system uses a client server architecture with the backup server and multiple backup clients. The backup server manages the backup operations and maintains the backup catalog, which contains the information about the backup process and the backup metadata. The backup server depends on the backup clients to gather the data to be backed up. The backup clients can be local to the server or they can reside on another server, presumably to the backup the data visible to the server. Okay, presumably to back up the data that is visible to that particular server. The backup server receives the backup metadata from the backup clients to perform its activities. So this is the backup operation here. The storage node is responsible for writing the data to the backup device. Typically, the storage node is integrated with the backup server and both are hosted on the same physical platform. A backup device is attached directly to the storage node's host platform. Some backup architecture refers to the storage node as a media server because it connects to the storage device. Storage node plays an important role in the backup planning because they can be used to consolidate backup servers. The backup process is based on the policies defined on the backup server, such as the time of the day or the completion of the event. The backup server then initiates the process by sending a request to the backup client. So backup can also be initiated by the clients. So this request instructs the backup client to send its metadata to the backup server and the data to be backed up to the appropriate storage node. On receiving this request, the backup client sends the metadata to the backup server. The backup server writes this metadata onto its metadata catalog. The backup client also sends the data to the storage node, and the storage node writes the data to the storage device. After all the data is backed up, the storage node closes the connection to the backup device. The backup server writes backup completion status to the metadata catalog. Backup software also provides extensive reporting capabilities based on the backup catalog and the log files. These reports can include information such as the amount of data backed up, the number of completed backups, the number of incomplete backups, and the types of errors that may have occurred. Reports can be customized depending on the specific backup software used. So this is the backup operation. This is a 7-step process. A very important question from your exam point of view. Now let us look at the restore operation. So restore operation, again it's a bunch of 5 steps. The first step is the backup server scans the backup catalog to identify the data to be restored and the client that will receive the data. The next step is the backup server instructs the storage node to load up the backup media in the backup device. Then the data is read and sent to the backup client. The next step is the storage node sends the storage metadata to the backup server, and lastly the backup server updates the catalog. So that is your restore operation, wherein the backup server scans the backup catalog to identify the data to be restored and the client that will receive the data. Then the backup server instructs the storage node to load the backup media in the backup device. Data is then read and sent to the backup client. The storage node sends the restore metadata to the backup server, and lastly the backup server updates the server catalog. So that is the restore operation. So we discussed what is backup, we discussed what is the backup process, what is the restore operation, what is the backup architecture, what do you mean by backup granularity, the purposes of backup, the backup methods, and so on. Right? So we discussed what are the purposes for backup, what are the considerations for backup and recovery, what do you mean by backup granularity, backup methods, and backup and recovery process and operations. Thank you.